Imagine welding your dream gate, the kind that screams, "This is my sanctuary," only to hear a sickening crunch that turns your $1,000 masterpiece into scrap metal. That's how my nightmare started, courtesy of a backhoe driven by some oblivious contractor who thought my driveway was fair game. And behind it all, the queen bee of the neighborhood HOA ready to lecture me on community standards, while ignoring the wreckage she'd authorized. I was in the zone that afternoon, sparks flying from my torch as I sealed the last latch on the iron gate I'd forged myself. It wasn't just a barrier. It was my statement to the world, or at least to the nosy neighbors in the adjacent development, that my property ended where their entitlement began. I live on the outskirts of a sleepy American suburb, the kind where picket fences hide petty feuds and every lawn is a battlefield for HOA approval. My name's Elias Thorne, a quiet mechanic who fixes classic cars for a living and minds his own damn business. Or at least I tried to. But then came the crash. Metal screeching against concrete, like nails on a chalkboard amplified by a monster truck. I flipped up my welding mask, heart pounding, and bolted around the corner. There it was, my gate, bent like a pretzel, dangling from one lonely hinge. A yellow backhoe sat there, engine idling smugly, as if it had just won a demolition derby. The driver, a burly guy in a hard hat, climbed down casually, wiping his hands on his jeans like he'd spilled coffee, not ruin my handiwork. "What in the actual hell?" I barked, my voice echoing off the driveway. He shrugged, that classic, not my problem shrug that makes you want to punch a wall. "Just doing the job, buddy. HOA cleared it. Said this path's got an easement for drainage work." "HOA? What HOA?" I demanded, trying not to let my fists clench too obviously. My land wasn't part of any association. I'd bought this plot 5 years ago, a chunk of earth with a private access road snaking through it, leading up to the hill and the fancy cul-de-sac neighborhood beyond. No covenants, no busybodies telling me how tall my grass could grow. That was the appeal. He jerked a thumb toward the pastel paradise next door, rows of identical McMansions with manicured lawns, fake stone facades, and those go-doffel decorative shutters that screamed, "We're better than you." Over there, Veronica Slade's the prez. She said it's all good. Veronica Slade. I'd heard the whispers. The self-appointed guardian of neighborhood harmony, known for fining people over unapproved mailbox colors and turning block parties into interrogation sessions. But this was trespassing on steroids. "There is no easement," I said, my tone flat but boiling underneath. "This is my land. All of it. Get that thing off my property before I call the cops." He blinked, unfazed. "Take it up with her, man. I'm just the muscle." He hopped back in, reversed with a beep-beep that felt like mockery, and rumbled away, leaving tire tracks in my gravel like a victory lap. I stood there, staring at the mangled gate, feeling that mix of rage and disbelief that only comes from someone else's stupidity invading your space. But I didn't explode. Not yet. Years of dealing with rumors, yeah. I'd been labeled the reclusive weirdo by the HOA crowd because I didn't attend their mandatory potlucks or kiss up to their rules, had taught me patience. They whispered I was hiding something sketchy in my workshop, probably because I worked odd hours restoring cars. Truth? I just valued my privacy. But now they'd crossed a line literally. To be fair, I'm not the type to pick fights. I observe, I plan, I strike when the iron's hot, pun intended. That afternoon, I dusted off my jeans and marched over to their gated enclave. The entrance was a joke. Wrought iron gates with gold-plated finials, flanked by 2 gurgling fountains that probably cost more than my truck. I parked outside. No way was I giving their security cameras the satisfaction, and strode in like I belonged. The community center was a pretentious little building with marble floors and framed plaques boasting about award-winning landscaping. Inside, Veronica was holding court, mid-50s, sharp suit, hair shellacked into a perfect bob that could deflect bullets. She was on the phone, snapping at someone about non-compliant holiday decorations in July. "Veronica Slade?" I interrupted, my voice cutting through her tirade. She pivoted slowly, eyeing me up and down like I'd tracked manure across her pristine kingdom. "Yes? And you are Elias Thorne. Your goons just demolished my gate thinking they had access to my driveway. She arched a perfectly penciled eyebrow. Ah, the utility easement. Our maps show it's county-approved for maintenance. We assumed the area was available. No easement, I said, keeping it cool. That road's private. Bought and paid for. You've trespassed and caused damage. She sniffed, that superior sniff that HOA Tyrant's perfect in front of mirrors. Well, if your property were properly marked, perhaps with a sign that doesn't look like it came from a junkyard, we might have avoided the misunderstanding. And really, Mr. Thorne, that gate of yours was an eyesore anyway. Doesn't match community aesthetics. I felt my jaw tighten. You owe me for the repairs. And stay off my land. Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. I'll table it for the next board meeting. We'll vote on compensation. In the meantime, perhaps read up on neighborly cooperation? It's what keeps our community thriving. She turned back to her phone, dismissing me like a pesky fly. I left, blood simmering, but not defeated. Because here's the kicker she didn't know. That easement road she was so cavalier about? It was the sole artery into her precious development. And I owned every inch of it. Game on. Over the next couple of days, I dove into my filing cabinet like a detective in a bad noir film. Deeds, surveys, zoning maps, all confirming what I knew. The road, called Whispering Pines Lane back in the day, was a relic from a logging outfit in the 70s. When the land got subdivided, my parcel snagged the whole stretch from the main highway to their back ridge. No public right-of-way, no utilities carve-out. It was mine, maintained at my expense for years. But to double-check, I hauled the stack to my buddy's law office. Lena Voss, a sharp land attorney who'd handled my purchase. She scanned the docs, pushed her glasses up, and chuckled. Elias, if you're aiming to turn the tables, you've got a royal flush. No easement, period. They're bluffing on borrowed time. I walked out with notarized notices and a blueprint brewing in my head. The next morning, I called a fencing crew. The irony wasn't lost on me, and met them at the road's entrance. Build this, I said, handing over my sketch. Heavy-duty steel barriers, retractable bollards, keypad lock. Make it bulletproof. They hammered away, and by dusk, Phase 1 was up. The real show started the following day. Around rush hour, cars lined up like lemmings, SUVs, minivans, the works. Horns blared in that entitled symphony. I sipped coffee from my spot across the street, watching the chaos unfold. A guy in a polo shirt stormed out of his BMW, jabbing the keypad like it owed him money. What the hell? This road's always open. I ambled over, casual as pie. Not anymore. Private property. You can't block us. We live here. Take it to your HOA prez. She's the one who greenlit destruction on my land. His face went from red to purple. This is insane. I'll sue. Board meeting's your best bet? I replied, biting back a grin as he muttered about crazy hermits and peeled out. By afternoon, the board called an emergency huddle. I parked nearby, spotting Veronica's gleaming Mercedes pull in. An hour later, she roared up my driveway, heels clicking like gunfire on gravel. Mr. Thorne, she said, voice laced with faux politeness. This stunt is a hazard. Blocking access? What if there's a fire? I sent you the notice yesterday, I said, leaning on my truck. County fire chief says since it's private, alternate routes are your problem. Her arms crossed, lips pursing. This is petty revenge. Over a little gate. Petty? Your backhoe turned my property into a junkyard. Want access? Lease it. Fair market rate. Extortion, she hissed. Consequences, I corrected, my tone even. She spun on her heel and left, tires spitting gravel like insults. The cease and desist arrived next day. Laughable claims of public obstruction. Lena shredded it. Bluff City, she said. Let's countersue, damages, trespass, the works, and enjoin their projects needing your road. We filed, aggressive but airtight. But Veronica wasn't done. 3 days later, a tip from a ridge neighbor. They're digging at night behind their pond, cutting through protected woods for a backdoor road. I grabbed my drone that evening, flew it low. Bingo. Trenches, equipment scarring county wildlife land. Video captured, time-stamped, sent to zoning and enviro regs at dawn. Within hours, the site was taped off. An inspector met me, fuming. They lied on the permit, called it erosion fix. This is felony territory, carving through habitat. Veronica had escalated from bully to criminal, all to dodge leasing my road. The HOA went radio silent. No more threats. Then, a knock. Marcus Hale, a resident, mid-30s, teacher vibe, looking sheepish. Elias? Some of us residents, not the board, want to chat. We had no clue about this mess. Inside, over coffee, he confessed, they sold us on shared path, said county owned it. We believed the lies. I showed him the maps, private for decades. He sighed. We're done with them, petition to dissolve. Will you speak at our town hall? Count me in. That week, in their clubhouse, I laid it out. Timeline, docs, damages, illegal digs. Gasps rippled through the crowd. How could they? One woman muttered. By night's end, signatures poured in. Veronica, no-show. A month later, board dissolved by vote. New committee formed. They tapped me as land consultant. County charged Veronica and cronies for permit fraud and habitat destruction, heavy fines. 5-year ban from offices. The road stayed gated, but now leased modestly. Funds to a local vet charity in my grandpa's name. Bollards rose nightly, their hum a sweet lullaby. My reforged gate? Beefier, with engraved words, boundaries matter here. Seeing Veronica post-dissolution? In the courthouse lobby, knuckles white, staring daggers at the floor. I was testifying on the Enviro case. The dig unearthed more. A buried vault with $250,000 in cash. Ledgers of off-books payoffs to inspectors, contractors, embezzlement central. DA piled on fraud, evasion, conspiracy. At hearing, I stuck to facts. No need for drama. Evidence roared. Post-hearing, Lena on steps. Assets frozen. Flight risk. Good, I said. Rules are for peasants, right? New committee audited old deals. Inflated contracts, ghost vendors, like $90,000 landscaping to a defunct shop, or $60,000 security to Veronica's cousin's unlicensed outfit. Marcus, now interim chair, invited me to a bank meet. Manager's face darkened flipping statements. Forged SIGs, unmatched withdrawals. Can we freeze linked accounts? I asked. Done. Outside, Marcus. Rot everywhere. We're renaming the road, fresh start. Fine by me, I said. Keep one segment mine. Months blurred. Audits, courts, pies from grateful neighbors. One brought kids to see my forge. I taught him basics. Summer call from DA. Veronica pled to probation restitution. Others jailed 2 to 4 years. Seized cash rebated dues. 2 free years for residents. At gathering, I spoke. You reclaimed your hood. Power to the people, not tyrants. Claps echoed. Marcus aside. Found old back access on maps. Overgrown. Clearing as backup. Smart. Legal? Absolutely. That night, walking the road, gate clicking shut, peace settled. But deeper rot lurked. It hit via a teen. Fixing my fence, a 16-year-old biked up, GoPro off robotics hoodie. Elias? School project on land rights. Mom said talk to you. I eyed him. Cut the BS, kid. What's up? He pulled a folder. Archived plats showing different developer, not Veronica's cited one. Defunct LLC under Harlan Voss, dead 5 years. Transfers to Shells. All paid by HOA for consulting sans reports. You traced. Law firm blocks end. But payments over 6 years. I leaned in. You know this is big? Yeah. Why I came. Called Lena. Her team unearthed $180,000 siphoned to dummies. Layered under $10,000 to dodge feds. Some to a pack for a retired commissioner who fast-tracked Veronica's permits. State AG raided HOA office. Files, drives, safe hauled. Veronica arrested, no plea this time. Charges: laundering, fraud, RICO conspiracy. Kid Theo testified. Docs pristine. Judge praised his guts. Jury convicted in hours. Veronica, 10 years, no parole for 7. Others, 8 and 6. Post-verdict, Theo pacing courthouse. Didn't expect this scale. You nailed it, I said. Gutsy move. But it feels bigger, more involved? Maybe, but you toppled the queen. Neighborhood evolved. Ditched HOA for voluntary counsel. No fines. Volunteer maintenance. Marcus quit politics. Rotators with terms. Ethics talks. New chair. Elena Ruiz. Engineer community garden. Water line across your land. Above ground. No tree harm? Draft the deal. You trust us. Earned it. Road mine. Lease symbolic. $1 per year. Theo graduated, civic award, college bound. Last visit. Still forging. Arches for garden donation. Plaque for road. He handed sketch. Gate with justice forges paths. Fitting, I said. Welded it that summer below the first. Reminder that wins come from vigilance, not volume. The gate endures, road mine, neighborhood there's reclaimed. But tell me, in a world where HOAs wield power like mini-dictators, is blocking a road revenge or just enforcing boundaries? Right or wrong?